Hello everyone, this is CoolPro195 and welcome to part 25 of Let's Play Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy for the PlayStation 4, and considering we're starting off with a third game, I figured I'd do the same as the first and second game for the sake of consistency, and that's starting the part with the PlayStation 4 startup sequence. And as you can see, well, as you're gonna see in a bit anyways. Don't know why PSN's taking its time to load, but okay, whatever. But yeah, as you can see right now, I have the platinum trophies for both Crash Bandicoot 1 and Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back within Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy. There's the intrepid Crash Bandicoot for Crash Bandicoot 1 and the incredible Crash Bandicoot for Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, and I plan to do the same for Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. So without any further commentary from this point, I'll just happily put the disc in and launch Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy for the last time in this Let's Play before we get to the DLC part of the LP, or the DLC section anyway. Now it's officially time to get started with the third game. Finally. It's especially a game that I've been anticipating to do a Let's Play on.
A smashing blast from the past. Developed by vicarious vision.
Yeah, I know we can't skip this intro sequence, but we've seen it multiple times now. It still looks amazing to this day, regardless whether you can and can't skip it. I can see this is going to be great for nostalgia in the future. Just imagine, people are going to be nostalgic about Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy when it comes to... in like 2 decades time, like they are about the originals. But yeah, anyways, let's make a start on this, finally.
It's Crash Bandicoot.
Okay, so we've already covered the first game, and I gotta say that game was challenging for the platforming segments that it offered, especially due to the fact that, you know, the new physics do not suit that game, especially the platforming, you know. It really adds even more challenge, an unnecessary amount of piss takes too, but anyways. That's also the second game complete. Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back was basically like a game that I was also excited to play and record in this AAA remastered trilogy. I mean in this Let's Play. And as fun as it was, I'm glad that, you know, doing this is over, because effectively the time trials, they just dragged, to be honest. Given the amount of piss takes I had to face, and yeah, the level geometry doesn't suit it, but I love the level environments in Crash 2, especially in comparison to Crash 1. That's where like they put even more work of a AAA remastered trilogy into the actual product itself. Like, a lot of it went into Crash 2, as I've stated previously, based on the environments and everything. So yeah, now basically, that's the first 2 games done in chronological order. Now, it's officially time for...
It's Crash Bandicoot.
That's right people, we are now gonna play Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped within Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy. And this is also an exciting game that I was really anticipating to play after I completed Crash 1 and 2, especially for what it had to offer. Yeah, I know that it took the same amount of time to develop as the original, but for what it's worth, seeing it AAA remastered, even the E3 content got me pumped for this game as well in the franchise, especially since it took longer for us to get, you know, actual like footage, pre-release footage for this game in the AAA remastered trilogy entirely before it even came out. And not only that, but this is one of my favourite Crash Bandicoot games in the entire franchise. And I'm also interested in the concept of time travel myself, so that's most probably another reason why I love this game. But I love Crash 2 and 3 equally, to be honest, but the time travel concept is something that really interests me personally. Anyways, let's jump right into Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped for the first time in this Let's Play.
Free at last. Uka Uka is free? No, it cannot be. Evil, great evil has come. None have dared fail the great Uka Uka even once. But you, Cortex, you have failed me twice. Great Uka Uka! It was that infernal Bandicoot! From deep inside my temple prison, I sent you simple instructions to follow. But you lost the gems, you lost the crystals, and I have lost my patience. There is now no other power source left on this planet. I know we've had a few unfortunate setbacks. And failed. But since your bumbling has managed to set me free, I am feeling generous. There is still a way to amass the power needed to enslave this miserable planet. And this time, the great Uka Uka will make sure that you do it right. After many eons, my evil twin brother, Uka Uka, has been freed from his underground prison. Long ago, I locked him there to protect the world from his malice. Now, free once again, he must be stopped. Children, Uka Uka and Cortex plan to use this time-twisting machine to gather crystals that lay scattered across time. I have brought you here to recover the crystals before they do. To open the time portal, simply stand on a button and then jump into the portal. Good luck.
Alright, so now we're officially starting off with the AAA remastered build of Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. And as you can see, we land ourselves in the warp room of Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, even though they call it the Time Twister. Like, in terms of story, it makes sense why they call it the Time Twister, based on, you know, like based on naming terminology, but originally, if you pause the game in the original Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, it would still say that it's for Warp Room instead of the Time Twister. And since I've just paused the game, let now be an appropriate time to discuss the pause menu, the designated pause menu for Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Now, as you can see, they've obviously took a more mechanical time machine sort of appearance for this pause menu for AAA remastered build of Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped entirely, and you can see a certain amount of enhancements in comparison to the original pause menu from the original Crash 3. Like, for example, they're showing everything all on one screen instead of just rotating between percentage, between the crystals, between the gems, between the relics and the power-ups. You can see them all in one go, which, understandably, the original PlayStation couldn't have handled all that at the time, even though ironically Crash 2 had the crystals and gems showing on the pause menu, but that was just the crystals and gems. Of course, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped had a lot more to offer in terms of collectibles, and it seems to be the most infamous game in the franchise, as, you know, it's a massive favourite to a lot of people. It's especially one of my favourites as well. But yeah, I like how, you know, especially with the layout for the power-ups, they have them alongside the crystals and the gems, and you can see what they are, you can make out what they are, it's just that they're not highlighted, and it's cool that whenever you haven't collected them, they're already not highlighted, which is interesting. It shows, like, it gives, you know, more of a sense of a progression, and it's more user-friendly and effective to the player how we can see it all in one go, instead of having to wait specifically for a certain stat to come up on the screen when you're paused. But anyways, and I also like how in the preview of where you currently are in the game, they gave it some sort of time machine Windows sort of feel to it, and that's a nice, you know, filter right there. It just shows that you're in a time machine. In a way, they make it look like a CRT TV, which sort of, or a CRT monitor of some sort, which is understandable, hence, you know, this is a 90s game, so they probably wanted a 90s theme for it, especially for the whole time machine concept, hence, you know, Crash Bandicoot originally made its mark in the 90s, so yeah. I like the animation in the pause menu as well. It looks really cool. But anyways, enough about the pause menu. Over here, in the original, you would originally see the save and load screen. However, you see images from other points in the game, like for example, an image of Crash 1. As you just saw, it was, it was Velocity from Crash 1, and you see the second Warp Room from Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. And also, to my memory, you see the first island from Crash Bandicoot 1 in this screen as well. Whereas originally, this would be the load save screen. It was the same case as Crash 2. They obviously changed it for the L2 button to save specifically for that function. But yeah, as you saw, we've seen Bear Down. Right there is Velocity. Okay, so yeah, that's basically all the images showcased, and unlike the other two games, we can actually unlock Coco straight away, which is, you know, a plus for those who love to play as Coco and just don't have to play up to a certain point just to unlock her. And in a way, it also makes sense, since Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped was the game that actually introduced Coco Bandicoot as a playable character, considering there were mandatory levels that you had no choice but to play as Coco, specifically because they were designed for her. And it's cool that you see them both dancing at the same time. I remember that being showcased. But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna add Coco to the adventure, so we don't have to grab her later. Even though when I enter a Coco level, it will automatically switch to Coco anyway. And I'm gonna play it like that, and obviously do the Coco Bandicoot playthrough after the whole 105% completion playthrough is complete with all crystals, gems, and relics. Considering, you know, I'd rather play it the way I used to play it back in the day, so yeah. It's nice to play it that way for nostalgic purposes. Oh yeah, and by the way, they have a different setup for the warp room, which is actually a unique take. And yeah, I'm still calling it the warp room for nostalgia's sake, also because it makes sense to call it a warp room, hence you go through the levels and stuff. And the name of this game is called Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, after all. Not Crash Bandicoot 3 Time Twister or some shit. Or Time Twisting, or Time Twisted, however the fuck you wanna call it. But anyways, yeah, that's enough of that. We've been talking for like a good amount of time over here, but it was interesting to discuss, like, you know, the new aspects of the warp room. And also in terms of scenery of the warp room itself, you can see that it's even more obvious that it's set in the timeless void, whereas in the original it looked like it was set in space, hence the water was not noticeable in comparison. But you know, now that they've added water, it makes it clearer. Now that they've added all water into the background, it makes it much clearer that the warp room in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped was actually set in a timeless void and not in space. The fact that it's, you know, a space background is most probably a coincidence. Well, effectively, it's sort of like a timeless void that's in space, but at the same time, it's on like a different platform, like a different part of land where it belongs to a timeless void. At least that's my understanding of it. And now, as you can see, whenever you complete a warp room, obviously it unlocks another warp room. As you can see, there's electricity gates, so obviously you can't go in to ones that are already locked, like so. That was real nostalgia right there. I remember that from back in the day. But before I start off, like, one thing I gotta say about the cutscenes is that it's interesting how they took a different approach to it, but at the same time it doesn't exactly resemble the original, but it still fits the bill in terms of making a AAA remaster of this game entirely, you know. Especially the fact that when Aku Aku was talking to Crash and Coco, in the original they would just be standing here. You would only see them standing here and him giving them a briefing, while in the AAA remastered opening cutscene, as you just saw, they've obviously showcased pretty much the whole warp room from CGI, like completely different angles basically. And it's nice how they added the effect of when Aku Aku was talking about jumping on a button in order to open up a portal and jump into the level. And the frog happened to have done that in the cutscene. That's great attention to detail. And also, like, when, like, what you call it, the opening cutscene where Cortex and Uka Uka and Entropy were having their little discussion. Well, when Entropy came in the end and they were having their little discussion, it didn't seem as dark as the original, but at the same time it did give its own sort of emphasis on the cutscene, on the theme of it as well. Because I remember some of it wasn't as emphasized back in the original, but at the same time, you know, they did take a different approach. And also the way Entropy would come from this warp room in the original cutscene, he would usually walk from there instead of be warped from the actual portal that takes him here. He would just like come out of a portal from within the warp room and then make his way here instead of come out of a portal right outside this point. But anyways, yeah, that's basically all I needed to discuss about this warp room and how we can finally get started with the game. And the first warp room happens to have a medieval setting, and the first level we are playing is level 1 Toad Village. So let's jump right into level 1 Toad Village, the first medieval level in the game.
Crash, crash, crash. Why must you always muck in my mud? Oh look, I have a mask helping me too. We will find out which one is more powerful soon enough.
Okay, so now we're entering level 1 Toad Village, and I gotta say the scenery looks great. I mean, this is great for nostalgia, especially how they recreated these pits over here. Although the slide spinning at the same time, it sort of feels the same as it did in the original Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. But at the same time, that's probably a placebo effect due to the fact that, you know, in Crash 2 the neutral slide spin was more effective, whereas in the original Crash 3 they fixed that, which in a way broke it for speedrunning, but at the same time, you know, really helped. It fixed the problem that they had. But anyways, well, it wasn't good for speedrunning anyway. Anyways, this level actually does bring a lot of like reintroduced nostalgia. And right here, as you've seen, this crate that was switching around, that happens to be a roulette crate, or a slot crate, as they've mentioned in the manual of the original Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. And that crate tends to act like a roulette, and it cycles between life crates, question mark crates, and even TNT crates, but you gotta be quick before it turns into an iron crate, and then it becomes unbreakable. But yeah, anyways, the scenery so far, it doesn't look too bad. I like the detail that they put in, especially with like all the extra bushes in the background, but at the same time, it does partially look plain in a way. So they could have still added more in the backgrounds, but you know, they wanted to keep it true to the original, so they did what they did. Anyways, moving on to the bonus round, the first ever bonus round in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Just like that, we've earned the PSN trophy, taking the Scenic Route for entering our first bonus round in the third game within the AAA Remastered Trilogy. And this is actually a very easy one, for that matter. And as you've noticed, for the bonus rounds, they've remixed the original Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped theme. And they do this for the platforming levels, and for whichever bonus round they do, for whichever bonus round you're in, for whichever level you're in, based on the environments, it uses the same remix of the theme tune, but at the same time, it does it based on the instruments of what the level environment is based around. And that was an easy bonus round, I gotta say. The easiest bonus round in the entire game. And yeah, I sort of at the same time have a lot to say, but at the same time, you know, a lot of it can still be. A lot of this is still improvised, so just bear with me. Whoa, that was close, given, you know, the sensitivity of the hitboxes and stuff. Also the checkpoint notification right there. The fact that it still has that specific checkpoint sound effect, specifically for Crash 3 and not 1 and 2. Like, it makes me think they could have done that for Crash 1 and 2 in the AAA Remastered Trilogy. But at the same time, you know, they did what they did, and they probably still wanted to keep it true to the original. But, you know, it is what it is. I like the water effects that they've had over here, and here we go collecting the first crystal. And back in the original, I remember when you collected the crystal in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. This is, you know, the level, I mean, this is the game that actually introduced that iconic crystal sound effect whenever you collect it. especially when it came to the gem. Okay, so now we actually have all the boxes and the gem for level 1 Toad Village. We can finally exit the level. But yeah, this is the game that introduced the iconic sound effects, and it's nice that they put it across all 3 games in the AAA Remastered Trilogy, for the sake of nostalgia, since most people remember it for that sound effect specifically. Alright people, so now that's officially level 1 Toad Village complete with 1 crystal and 1 gem. Let's jump right into level 2 Under Pressure, which is our first underwater level that we play, and also the first vehicular level in the game, hence we get to use a sub. Well, kind of like an underwater jet that you used to fire torpedoes, which was pretty neat back in the day, I'm not gonna lie. And this level, for those of you who owned one of the American demo discs from the PS1 days, the American PS1 demo discs, and it sucks how you can't get invincibility underwater still, which is, you know, something they could have improved, but then again, obviously they wanted to keep true to the original. But yeah, this should bring back memories for those people as well, considering all the beta elements they would have remembered. This is also shown in the old original promo trailer as well, and in the beta of the originals, these pufferfish were purple instead of red, but obviously in the final version of the original, they changed them to red. But yeah, this is the first level that was actually playable, like as a demo, for back in the PS1 days, if you had an NTSC U/C PlayStation 1 back in the day, whereas I owned a PAL PlayStation 1 back in the day, so the first demo level I would have played was level 6 G-Wiz, which we'll get to in the next World Prem. But anyways, enough of that. Now basically, the scenery of this level, I really like it a lot in terms of the way they've improved it upon the original. And so far, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped as a whole, you know, even though it took the same amount of time as the original to create for this AAA remastered build, I gotta say, it looks decent for the enhancements that they put in. Especially for like the amount of animations going on within the scenery and everything for the underwater levels, and it certainly looks much better than the underwater levels in Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex as well, without a doubt, considering that was obviously made for the PS2. So yeah, this is like taking the original PS1 concept to the next level. This is like taking it and improving upon it so much more. And this gives a great nostalgia attack, playing with this, you know, torpedo. And yeah, it's piss easy to destroy, like those, what you call it, like those crates, especially in the original, like from a distance. Well, I remember this one being a tough section, but you know what's funny? The mine is actually, you know, reacting slower than it did in the original, because I remember back then it used to react a little faster in comparison. But then again, that's my take on it, that's how I remember. Although one gripe, which, you know, is a bit of a constructive criticism that I've got for this section entirely, well, not section, but for the underwater torpedo jet entirely, is that the torpedoes, they don't explode until, in the AAA remastered build, they explode earlier than they did in the original. Which is, you know, something that they could have left it how it was in the original, since it goes much further. But you know, they did what they did, and all in all, it's not a massive issue, it's just a minor observation there, and this was actually a piss easy level, for that matter, even for the AAA remastered build, in that case. Okay, so that's now level 2, Under Pressure complete for the crystal and the gem. And some of you may think that I plan to go into level 3 straight after. Well, not exactly, because since Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped has introduced time trials as a whole to the entire franchise, they've used the relics as an actual mandatory part of the completion in terms of unlocking the secret levels. And as we all know, I'm a backtrack as you go sort of person, so I'm gonna get the vehicular levels out of the way, considering they do not require the speed choose whatsoever, and it's better that way since it will save a lot of time in the Let's Play. So anyways, we'll be going back to level 2 for the Platinum Relic run. And I like how they went for the original concept of showcasing the time trials. It was more organised than the other two. Well then, of course, the first and second game obviously weren't designed for this sort of layout, so in a way it's understandable that they went for the layouts they went for, but bottom line is, they weren't designed for time trials, whereas Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped was. So anyways, without any further commentary from this point, let's get more to the point. The target time for a Sapphire Relic in this level is 1 minute and 39 seconds. However, we're going for a Platinum Relic, so to recap, the target time for a Sapphire Relic is 1 minute and 39 seconds, for a Gold Relic it's 1 minute 10 seconds and 90 milliseconds, and for a Platinum Relic it's 1 minute 3 seconds and 50 milliseconds. So let's jump right into level 2 Under Pressure for the Platinum Relic run.
Crash, Coco, if you have already retrieved a levels crystal, then you will find a floating clock when you enter for the second time. This floating clock activates time trial mode. Grab it and the clock will start ticking. Race for the end to get the best time, but beware, some elements will change.
This run has scored a Platinum Relic with a time of 54 seconds and 47 milliseconds. And I gotta say, this is actually an easy Platinum Relic to do, even though I didn't get it on my first go. It was still a relatively short level and the time was actually lenient for what it was worth. Of course the hitboxes could still be better, but it was still piss easy for what it was worth. Alright, so now that's officially our first platinum relic earned. So now we have 2 crystals, 2 gems, and 1 relic, 1 platinum relic to be exact. And I like the way they display the target time as well when they replace the times on that section where they show your best times. It was a decent layout, to be honest. And also, what I've got to say about the time trial for this level is that even though it was a piss easy platinum relic, just like in the original, it could have been better at some points. Like for example, as I was saying before, the fact that, you know, the torpedoes from the underwater jet, the fact that they explode earlier than they did in the original, they really don't help the situation. So yeah, pretty much my nostalgia from the original sort of created the illusion that, you know, I was already killing those sharks from the distance, when as a matter of fact I wasn't, because obviously those torpedoes now explode earlier than usual, whereas in the original those sharks, they most probably would have died off screen. They most probably would have got killed by the torpedoes off screen, which was helpful in the original, but a piss take in the AAA remaster. And another problem about the jet is that when you're actually speedrunning with it, like I'm trying to go through it with the old tactics, but at the same time sometimes whenever you come off, actually this happens a lot in the AAA remaster, whenever after you finish boosting but you wanna go up and down and stuff, like you're partially immobilized by that. You can't go like up and down sometimes, which is a piss take. And that's like after you finished boosting, you know, consistently or consecutively, as I did for the platinum relic run. But yeah, anyways, that was a nice easy platinum relic for what it was worth. Although, what partially made it easier is that those electric gates, well, you could say that they're gates, but at the same time, not really. But those electric revolving doors in those sections, in the original, they would immobilize you if you had an Akwaku mask and if you had to take damage to it. But in the AAA remastered build, thank fuck that does not happen. I mean, that's something they actually improved on in comparison to the original. So yeah, not all of it is bad. Some of the improvements or some of the changes were actually improvements instead of drawbacks, instead of setbacks entirely. So yeah, it's great that it doesn't immobilize you because it helps you out for the time trial, and thank fuck it does. Otherwise that would have wasted a good platinum relic, a piss easy one at that. But anyways, now that's level 2 Under Pressure 2 complete entirely. We don't have to come back to this level anymore, thank fuck for that. And well, Wumpa Fruit just wants to stay in midair. I knew that was gonna happen. Just follows Crash whenever it's in the middle of its animation cycle. But anyways, now moving on to the first Coco level in the game. Level 3, Orient Express. Alright, now we officially started off the first ever Coco level in the game, and like I said, this is mandatory, as in the original, and I gotta say the scenery for the Great Wall of China, like, it looks amazing, and I also love the music, but the speed, shit. Okay, well that was fucked up, the way I died there. I pressed X and she still died, like what the fuck. And yeah, another thing I noticed is that there's also a delay in the fucking pure levels as well. This is like a thing for like the vehicular levels in the actual, you know, AAA remastered build, which is something that they didn't fix. It takes like basically a whole second for it to react, which is a piss take. And no matter whether you use analog, whether you use the D-pad or analog, the result is still the same. The delay, the input lag is still present. And well, okay, I know I jumped early there, but you know, it's hard to make out the depth perception. The depth perception is fucked up from what I remember back in the original. But yeah, although they did bring analog, they still never perfected it. They brought analog to Crash 1, but still, it still hasn't been perfected. Oh yeah, although ironically it is easier to get that box just there, which is piss easily missable in the original. So yeah, that's one thing that actually helps out. That actually helps the situation. Whoa. Although, like, sometimes when you're speeding, it's good that it gives you a great speed boost, but at the same time, you know, whenever you speed, you start to lose control in the AAA remaster, and as you've just seen, I can't use that corner in order to, you know, perform that glitch. In order to, you know, use that actual strat to do the cuddle skip, where Coco and Pura are cuddling, like right at the end of the level, and you can just jump right into the pool. But obviously that trick is only present in the original, as they fixed that in the AAA remaster. And here we have the gem, by the way. And also, it's cool how you get to see Coco's like sliding and double leg dropping moves and spinning in these levels as well, considering Coco was never able to spin in the original when she was just all by herself and not riding Pura or any other vehicles. She was only able to jump in the original. So yeah, it's nice how they actually kept her moveset for these levels too, which is actually a nice tribute to Coco as a playable character. So yeah, there's Coco doing the crash dance for getting the crystal and the gem, and of course, considering this is a vehicular level, we're gonna have to go back into level 3 to do the platinum relic run. So, the target time for a sapphire relic for level 3 Orient Express is 41 seconds. However, going for a platinum relic, so to recap, the target time for a sapphire relic is 41 seconds, for a gold relic it's 27 seconds and 80 milliseconds, and for a platinum relic it's 18 seconds and 10 milliseconds. So let's jump right into level 3 Orient Express for the platinum relic run.
Uka Uka and Cortex want tiny get crystals and bring them to big Colosseum in Rome. Crash! Leave them for Tiny, or Crash get crushed!
This run has resulted with a platinum relic of a time of 14 seconds and 38 milliseconds. And as easy as this level is, and actually should be, to run. It was an easy level, but at the same time, the mechanics, as in like the way she was landing and everything, it really did not help the situation whatsoever. Now that's officially the Platinum Relic earned for level 3 Orient Express. Now as you can see, we have 3 crystals, 3 gems, and 2 Platinum Relics in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped so far, which gives us 8% in total for what we have so far. But anyways, for this level in particular, as in speedrunning, even though there's a delay, I sort of adjusted to it, you know, for the time trials, but at the same time, some of the shit that was going on, it really didn't help. Like, for example, you know that old trick, that old tactic that you could do in the original, where you use the side of the wall to get on top of that area where there's a 1-second time crate and a 3-second time crate. It turns out you can't do that in the AAA remaster. You're still gonna get like bashed by the wall, even if you try. So I had no choice but to slow down for that lab assistant underneath that ramp. I had to use him as a springboard just to get myself up there, but thank fuck it still got me my Platinum Relic, you know. And landing in some spots, that didn't help either. Like, especially on that last part where there's that 3-second crate underneath that bit of shelter. At least I think it's a part of shelter. But anyways, yeah, that was a piss take. And not only that, but what further held me back is that even though I wasn't intentionally trying to do that old trick, the fact that the speed boost makes Coco and Pure jump so high, like she collides with the wall, but thank fuck she doesn't get hit. But the fact that she collided with the wall, it did hold me back for like roughly a second or two, which partially bastardized the time, but I still got my Platinum Relic, which is decent enough for the completion. So yeah, as mentioned before, the depth perception is screwed up. It's completely fucked up from what I remember. So yeah, we gotta relearn the game all over again for its quirks and crap. But anyways, that's level 3 Orient Express complete with a Platinum Relic, and complete entirely with a Crystal Gem and Platinum Relic. We can finally move on to level 4 Boneyard, which is the next platforming level in the game, and the first prehistoric level in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped as well. Okay, now here we are entering prehistoric uncharted territory. Although this time, we're not running away from a boulder, we're actually running away from a Triceratops, as you see over there. And it's amazing. I love the attention to detail there with the, you know, the lava pits, especially the effect that they have on Crash's model. They make him glow a lot more in the process, which is really cool. Whoa, that was really close. And yeah, the perception and the pterodactyls. Of course, if you touch them, they're obviously gonna drag you up, but if you spin them away, that'll help you out a whole bunch. Now over here in this section in particular, it's more noticeable that you're at the edge of like the volcanic platform of, like, you know, the volcano. But over here, whereas in the original it isn't that noticeable, it still looks like there's more ground on the other side even though you don't even access it. But you know, it's cool how they did that. The grass over here, it's interesting how, like, you know, they made the grass look like actual grass in comparison to the original. And if you notice, when Crash walks through it this time, his animation is actually slowed down, instead of his animation keeping its speed while the move speed is slowed down. While the horizontal speed is slowed down. Oh, and by the way, level 4 Boneyard, this is actually the level that was previewed on the GameSlice channel at YouTube Live at E3 2017 on Jeff Keighley's own personal E3 event that he does every year. On that event right there during E3 2017. So yeah, YouTube Live at E3 2017 was eventful along with the rest of E3 as well. So yeah, this brings back some sort of, memories of E3 in a way. And yeah, those enemies, I don't know how he didn't die, but whatever. Anyways, now moving on to our first prehistoric bonus round. And yeah, as you've seen and as you've heard, it remixes the theme tune from Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped with the instruments that are based on the level's environment, which I actually liked as part of the original Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. And I think that's also partially what made this sort of theme tune in particular an iconic theme for Crash Bandicoot entirely, especially considering they used that theme tune for, the comeback announcement for Crash Bandicoot back at E3 2016, which was a moment to remember, without a doubt. And that's the bonus round complete. Again, it was another piss easy bonus round, just like in level 1 Toad Village. But yeah, I know you don't have to destroy the grass, but it is what it is. It's nice to clear it anyway. Oh yeah, by the way, earlier you saw a red gem platform that was outlined, which means there is some backtracking to this level to be done. And that indicates that we have to earn the red gem in level 12, Deep Trouble, and then backtrack to this level in order to retrieve this level's Death Path gem. So now we can only get the gem, so now we can only get the crystal, the box gem, and the platinum relic at this point in the game. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna be really careful because the physics, sometimes they are slightly off-putting in a way. Although you can go on the sides, even more than you can in the original, so they've slightly made it easier. And that's the level complete with the crystal and the gem. Nice easy level, I gotta say. Especially for prehistoric Uncharted territory. Now we officially have the crystal and the gem for level 4 Boneyard, and that leaves us with 4 crystals, 4 gems, and 2 platinum relics, with a completion of 10% into the game already. Just actually, quite decent, and I like how they're recreating all the old screenshots, just like they did for the previous game. It's really cool how they did that, especially for this sort of, layout for the save load screen. It's a nice change, especially since the AAA Remastered Trilogy altogether introduced the autosave feature. So that's cool. And yeah, obviously the relic is optional at this point. Well, you can do it now if you want, but I'm not going to do it considering it's a platforming level, so I'm going to save all the platforming levels, the platinum relics for all the platforming levels, to when I actually defeat Cortex and earn the speed shoes, so then I can actually have a better chance of getting the platinum relics within those levels. Anyways, now moving on to the last level of the warp from level 5 Making Waves, which is the first Coco jet ski level in the game. Oh yeah, that hint goes without saying. Complete the course to earn the crystal. And here we are, in the jet ski level, and I like how in each level it gives you like all these tips, but at the same time it's not 100% necessary, but you know. And it says R2 but I'm holding X. But yeah, anyways, as for these jet ski levels, with the controls, they are far different to the originals, and they feel completely fucked up, especially based on the physics. Although ironically it's easier to control these with the analog sticks. Oh wow, that was almost fucking close. Surprisingly, I made it across. I'm actually making it smoother than I thought in comparison to how I usually would. And yet you can land in the sailorman's boat in order to earn an extra life in Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, which is a nice touch. Although in terms of scenery, I gotta say, okay, and yeah, we gotta avoid this bird whenever, or this pigeon, whatever the fuck it is, or seagull, yeah, it's a seagull, whenever he lands on top of this crate. Although, as for the scenery, I gotta say, it is quite plain, and it looks exactly like it did on the original PlayStation 1 version. Like, it brings me back all those memories of playing it in the PlayStation 1, and I gotta say, it looks really plain, and although it's not 100% a bad thing, since the fact that this level was originally plain to begin with, it made it so easy for Vicarious Visions for them to, you know, make it true to the original, but at the same time, what could have been so much better is that they could have added more detail into the background. And wow, I can't believe I fucking died because of a fucking mine right there. Now that was cheap as fuck right there. But yeah, anyways, potentially they could have done so much more. No, I'm not gonna risk it that time. But yeah, they could have done so much more in terms of the background. Because all I see in the background, like in the far distance, is a white lined abyss followed by a shit ton of ocean terrain. It's like the potential they could have done. They could have done something like add some more islands in the background and stuff. And you know, they could have also had like more ornaments like that, like more monuments on top of like brand new, you know, newly introduced islands as well, which actually could have helped. It could have, you know, helped the scenery a lot more, make it look more like, you know, immersive. But they are keeping true to the original. Though in some sections, I gotta say, it would be cool if they included like a tunnel section at the same time, to say like you're riding the jet ski through a cave and the level turns dark at some point. That's something they could have done in terms of creativity. But of course, the whole point of a AAA remaster is to conform to the original design, so they basically did what they had to do, even though they could still have potentially gone out of their way. And that's the gem earned for level 5. That's the crystal and the gem earned for level 5. Making waves. Alright, now that's officially the crystal and the gem earned to level 5 making waves, which leaves us with 5 crystals, 5 gems and 2 platinum relics. And considering that's, you know, a vehicular level, I would go straight back in for a platinum relic. However, the way this game works, only the boss fight button appears after you've gotten the crystal in all 5 levels within each warp room. And this boss fight that we're facing against is Tiny Tiger. So let's jump right in to the Tiny Tiger boss fight.
Crash, Coco,
So here we are in the Tiny Tiger boss fight, and I gotta say, it's nice how those people in the background are actual people. They're actual lab assistant models. They're not like pictures moving up and down, you know, they're not GIF images. We also see Dr. Neo Cortex actually wearing a toga outfit in this AAA remastered build, as opposed to his signature outfit as he would be wearing in the original, where he's standing behind Tiny within the boss fight arena. And yeah, as you've seen, like, when I went into the corner, they throw cheese at you. They know that you're trying to cheat, but you can't cheat, you know. And it is partially a piss take how you can't cheat. Fucking hell. You see, like, you can't cheat, especially like with, you know, the hitboxes of the lions. I mean the tigers and shit. You can't cheat in the corner. It's nuts, but they did what they did. It's a piss take that you can't cheat, but you know, it's nice that they fixed it. So then it keeps that element of challenge. It would be easier to kill more of them in one go in the original, but given the hitboxes in the AAA remastered trilogy, you know, it's not that much of a problem. Like, you would have to avoid them a lot more. So yeah, that's more precaution. Man, the fact that it's funny how like they create an Easter egg where, you know, the lab assistants in the crowd, they throw fucking they throw cheese, mustard cans and tomatoes at you when you're trying to fucking cheat in the corner. Like, it's a hilarious Easter egg once you think about it, and just like that we've earned the trophy Tiny Trounced for defeating Tiny Tiger. And now we officially have our first power-up in the game, and this is the game that actually introduces power-ups. So yeah, we get the first power-up we earn is the supercharged body slam. For a more powerful belly flop, press X button to jump, and then press circle at the top of the jump. And then the portal is gonna appear. Although something interesting that you can do is that you can still beat the shit out of Tiny even though he's like laying down on the floor. You can bounce on top of him. And you can even spin him as well, which is fucking hilarious. I just did the supercharged body slam as well. Anyways, now moving on. Back to the warp room, or the time twister as they call it in terms of story.
Well done, children. By defeating Tiny, you have unlocked the gate to the next time travel area. Go back to the center of this time twister and save your progress if you wish. From there, you will see that the gate to the second time travel area is now open.
Okay, now we've officially defeated the Tiny Tiger boss fight, which gives us the supercharged body slam ability. Although Crash doesn't land facing in a different direction, he faces in the direction he's already facing. So yeah, that's something interesting that they've changed. Especially what they did, but at the same time, that was how it was back in the Game Boy Advance games that were also developed by Vicarious Vision, so probably that was also a throwback to those games at the same time. But anyways, now that I've defeated the Tiny Tiger boss fight, that's not the end of the part just yet, because as I explained previously, I would have gone straight back into level 5, but obviously we had to face Tiny Tiger first, because we had no choice, considering that was the only button that showed in this warp room at the time. Well, this warp room section anyway. But anyways, now going back into level 5, making waves for the Platinum Relic run. The target time for a Sapphire Relic is 1 minute and 11 seconds. However, we're going for a Platinum Relic. So to recap, the target time for a Sapphire Relic is 1 minute and 11 seconds. For a Gold Relic, it's 1 minute 3 seconds and 23 milliseconds. And for a Platinum Relic, it's 56 seconds and 23 milliseconds. So let's jump right into level 5, making waves for the Platinum Relic run.
continue to be a thorn in our side.
Who? What? Where was I? Oh, Tiny was a good fellow. He hated everyone and everything, but a good heart nonetheless. Please be more reasonable with my minions next time.
This run has resulted with a gold relic of a time of 56 seconds and 58 milliseconds, which was actually a really close platinum considering the platinum relic is on the 56 second mark, but I will be re-entering this level for the platinum relic. Okay, so that's the gold relic earned for level 5 making waves. However, we're going for a platinum relic, so to display the target time for a platinum relic, the target time is 56 seconds and 23 milliseconds, so let's jump right in for platinum relic run. This run has resulted with a platinum relic with a time of 56 seconds and 21 milliseconds. And I gotta say, it didn't take as many tries as I expected, but it did take more than it should have done to be completely honest, especially for the fact that I got a gold relic previously. That was a joke. Now we officially have the crystal, the gem, and the platinum relic. For level 5, making waves. And it's about fucking time I got the platinum relic as well. Actually, I think I'm gonna recap on all the levels, because I don't think I actually recapped on them. So anyways, to recap, the time I got for a platinum relic on level 2 under pressure was 54 seconds and 47 milliseconds. And to recap, the time I got for a platinum relic in level 3 Orient Express was 14 seconds and 38 milliseconds. And to recap, the time I got for a platinum relic on level 5 making waves was 56 seconds and 21 milliseconds. So this time, in comparison to last time, I was 2 milliseconds past the time. I was so close. It could have potentially been another close platinum, like the last gold relic was. Well, it is decent to get a gold relic, but obviously the objective in this let's play is to get all platinum relics, so I'm playing by that objective. So now, percentage wise, that leaves us with a total of 5 crystals, 5 gems, and 3 platinum relics, giving us 14%, making us 14% complete into the game. And that was actually a nice screenshot there, but you know. Anyways, it could have been much better, especially for what the physics are worth. But anyways, moving on. That officially puts an end to part 25 of Let's Play Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy for the PlayStation 4, and see you lot in part 26, where I play through the second warp room in the AAA remastered build of Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, with all the crystals and gems and 2 platinum relics from level 8 and level 10. So see you lot in part 26. Feel free and be sure to subscribe, like or rate, however you want to put it. Drop a comment below to leave constructive feedback if you possibly can, and or share it around with your friends and family, whoever they may be. And see you lot in part 26 of Let's Play Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy, or another video for another project whenever it may happen. Laters everyone, peace out.